Hello everyone, Clayton here at etrailer.com. Here at etrailer.com, we install, test, and review a lot of different products to help you as the customer make a more educated decision before your purchase. Today I have a 2011 Honda CRV. We'll be taking a look at, and I'll show you how to install, the Roadmaster FuseMaster fuse bypass. Our fuse bypass is simply going to deactivate a fuse when we're flat towing. That way our radio isn't pulling power, or for whichever vehicle you're flat towing, just flipping this switch is going to essentially pull that fuse out. That way we manually don't have to pull that fuse out every time we're flat towing. So it's going to keep that power draw from happening when we are flat towing for a long period of time. And it's made pretty easy just with the flip of a switch, instead of actually having to crawl under and manually pull that fuse every time, which is not only annoying, but you can damage your fuse panel. You can see we have our opening for our fuse. Then these spade connectors come off of our plug, like so. And then we simply drill out a hole in our dash and then mount this in here and add this locking nut on the back side. Then we'll plug in FuseMaster. Then whenever we're flat towing, just hit that switch and it'll cut power. And in this case, we're going to be cutting the power to the radio. And in terms of installation, getting this installed really isn't that bad. In our case, it's just kind of tight underneath the dash, and really just fitting under there and working is probably going to be the hardest part. Now, to determine which fuse you're going to pull, we're going to refer to our owner's manual, and we'll look in the towing behind a motorhome section. It tells us to pull fuse number 34. On our CRV, our fuse panel is going to be in the driver's side kick panel behind our dash, which is going to be right here. All of our fuses are numbered, so it's going to be really easy to determine which one we need to use. Like I said, in the owner's manual, it tells us to pull fuse number 34. Number 34 is right up here. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see that open relay next to it. And then 34 is going to be that first 7.5 amp fuse. We can go ahead and get that pulled with a pair of needle nose pliers. This is what I was talking about when we are flat towing. It's kind of annoying to have to crawl under here and pull this fuse every time. Before we install our new FuseMaster, we want to find a good spot to mount our switch. On the CRVs, we're going to have this cubby over here on the left side. I really like to put that switch in there. It's pretty hidden. We're not going to be bumping it, getting in and out all the time. It's going to be out of sight and out of mind, but when we're ready to flat tow, it'll be easy to find. To remove this panel, we're simply just going to pull down. You're just going to have to work your way around the outsides. We'll lift up and pull out. Just like so. With our panel removed, we're going to be mounting our switch right here. We just want to grab our switch, kind of take this locking nut off the back side. We can now determine where we're going to mount it. I'm going to mount it as close to this lip as possible. So we just want to kind of hold it there, make a mental note. We're going to be drilling right about here. We're just going to grab a step bit and start drilling slowly and work our way to where that button will just press in. So we're just going to drill a little bit, then check. We do have to drill just a little bit more. We just want it to where those threads barely fit through. And then since it's going to look different on the inside, as you can see, that outer diameter is what we want, but the inner diameter is pretty small. We're just going to take a utility knife and cut around that edge. So right there is about where we want it. Now we can grab that utility knife and just kind of trim away the material from the back. We can now grab our switch. We're just going to push it down to the hole, get it as lined up as possible. With our button pushed through, we just want to come back with that locking nut and thread it onto the back side to where it's nice and tight. Just like that. We can now look at the finished product from the inside. Just get all those plastic shavings out of there, and it'll look real nice. One nice feature of our kit is that it includes drive and tow stickers. We can stick those on there once we determine the orientation of the switch in the vehicle. This is the fuse that came out of our car. We need to get a mini fuse to replace it for our fuse holder here. As you can see, that one will fit in there, but the prongs aren't long enough on this fuse. So just keep in mind you will need to pick up a 7.5 amp fuse to fit this kit. Moving back into the car, we're ready to plug our fuse holder back into our fuse panel. You're not going to be able to see my hands, but these little prongs are just going to plug into each side of where that fuse was. It is going to be kind of tight, so having this panel out is going to give us just a little bit more room. With our fuse bypass plugged in, we can grab that new 7.5 amp fuse and plug it into our fuse holder. Just going to push down like so, and then add our cap. We can now grab the connectors on the end of our fuse bypass and plug them onto the connectors for our switch. These are simply just going to push on, like so. And we'll reinstall our panel in the reverse order that we took it down. With everything hooked up, we can test it out. As you can see, our radio's on. We'll flip our switch, and it cuts power. So we know we installed it correctly, and we can put our stickers on in the correct orientation. With everything hooked up and tested out, we're ready to hit the road. That's going to do it for our look at and the installation of the Roadmaster Fuse Bypass Kit on our 2011 Honda CRV.